Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Luce, joined by Cam.
Hey, Luce.
Now, today, everyone, we are going to break down the final Batman vs Superman trailer.
Indeed we are.
Definitely my favorite trailer from this film. I'm pleased that they've ended on a high note.
I wish that they hadn't released the last trailer, frankly. Like this feels to me like the perfect trailer to hype people up for the film. No mention of, a big bad and the team uniting and everything. I just want it to be about Batman versus Superman.
Yeah,
damn
and
it.
that is definitely the focus of this trailer. Now, let's just kick off a couple of things. We've got the Batwing in action here.
Yep.
It's interestingly, it sounds like a pod racer.
It does a little bit.
Don't
yeah.
you think?
But, sound design, Star Wars has set the bar for sound design
It has.
over the last 30 years. So
it's no wonder people are pilfering it
That's right.
left, right, and center. Obviously,
I'm just glad that Anakin isn't piloting it.
I completely
That's the
agree.
key thing. Sound effects are fine.
Instead, we have Alfred serving as a drone pilot here,
Yep.
essentially. So, he's taking a real hands-on approach in battle, which is a sort of an interesting new take on the cinematic Alfred. And this is really following up on his first appearance in Batman vs. Superman's last trailer, which hinted that he really might be sort of getting ready to get his hands dirty.
Yeah, I mean, they feel like partners rather than a manservant. And, not that Alfred's always been more than that, obviously, but it's just so cool to see they're both stubbled up. They're both just, they're veterans.
Yeah.
These are guys who've done a bunch of work together over many, many years. It's just cool to feel that there's that trust and that the partnership between them.
Absolutely, and Jeremy Irons said in an interview back in December that he's a bit of a grease monkey, which
Yeah,
really
right.
feels bang on in this trailer.
I just love this tech, by the way. It's so cool.
Yeah.
He's just remotely piloting this thing. And just all these, and he's identifying all the threats in the room. So Bats is ready to spring into action.
Yeah, I really like the tech that we've seen in this movie so far. It looks functional, if you know what I mean. It looks like it could be real.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very high tech, but it's real. Okay, so we're not sure who these grunts are. I don't
reckon it matters.
I don't reckon it really matters. I mean, this really feels like they're just there to be beaten up, so we can see how awesome Batman is when he's fighting.
Look at this entrance. This is a way to enter a room. I'm always going to enter the room like this from now on if I possibly can.
I feel like everyone should enter the room like this. I think it's a stellar entrance.
And interesting enough, before we get into the kind of what's so cool about this fight sequence, there's a missing clip here that we see towards the end of this trailer, because that's a room full of guys with guns. Even if you're Batman, and you got to you're heavily armored and everything, it's still maybe not the best idea to just take those guns. But we'll get to that later on.
Yeah. Now this is the first time that we've seen Batman properly fight, and what is so noteworthy in this sequence is just how fluidly he moves in that suit. I mean, traditionally the cinematic Batman characters have always been a little stiff.
Yep.
But
So good.
this is very much a Snyder Batman.
Yeah, look at this knife. Just
So he's
glancing off this
he's
armor.
He's got this armored cowl, which is really cool.
Oh, and man, that's just nasty.
And if you
It's just got so much weight to it. It's so Arkham, Arkham Knight. It's so those games.
It is, and also he's fighting out in the open as well. Like, this is a brawl. This doesn't feel like he's kind of
I'm just gonna keep rewinding this, by the way.
I don't blame you. Also, just quickly on that one there, on that last frame, see this grunt has a knife, has his own knife sticking out of his leg.
Awesome.
I think that's a really nice touch. But yeah, no, this is out in the open. This is a Snyder Batman. He's a brawler. Do you know what I mean? He's more of a sort of a fighter than a detective working from the shadows, so to speak.
It's such a good point. He hasn't taken out the lights.
No.
He's just taking them on one at a time, and even if he disables their weaponry or their guns, I should say, it's still a lot of dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a pretty ballsy move.
Yeah,
I like this Batman.
And absolutely very much in line with the recent Arkham games insofar as this just looks like a bunch of combos. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks like combos. Yeah, so we've seen this shot of the Batcave before, but it is a very cool shot. Like, I really like how much you can actually see here. And again, it just goes back to that idea of everything just being somehow functional. Like, this looks like it could actually be a place.
Yeah, the fact that the Batmobile is it's under a under a sheet. And it's kind of this is the staging area. Like, they actually use this as a proper space. And I also really love that you got Robin's suit over there by the stairs, so it's kind of unavoidable to see that I could presume on the way in, or at least between floors.
Yeah, it's great. And also I really like this rapport that we have here between Alfred and Bruce Wayne. I mean, Alfred's clearly not afraid to sort of tease him a little bit, and again, it sort of suggests this, as you said before, this kind of really old trusting partnership. I like their rapport.
Yep, for sure.
So good.
Look at that expression. All right, so now we get back into the. So here's why they're angry at each other. Well, here's why Batman's angry.
Every trailer we've seen thus far needs to remind us exactly why they are fighting. So yeah, we've got the fallout from the Superman versus Zod battle. We've got Bruce Wayne looking up at the sky angrily with the little girl, and then we also have a reminder that Superman is worshipped. Like this we saw this in a previous trailer, but worshipped by. I mean, it looks like he's in Mexico. It looks like he's being sort of touched and by these people in Day of the Dead makeup. Just to remind us of the sort of global adoration that is happening with Superman right now.
And I also just want to point out that you get a snippet in this trailer of the whole thing about why Batman's so angry at him. But one of the TV spots had the full line of dialogue, which I really liked. And Alfred says to him, you're going to war. And Batman says, he's the one that brought the war to us. Count the dead. Thousands of people. What's next? Millions? He has the power to wipe out the entire human race. If we believe there's even a 1% chance he's our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty. Like, all the trailers kind of mix and match like bits and pieces of dialogue. But I just think that is particularly cool, where he's actually like talking about body counts. It's real.
Yeah,
it's very real to him.
It is interesting maths, I would say. Cool. So yes, our next shot here is of course the Batmobile clashing with Superman.
And we've seen this a bunch of times as well, but actually I think there's a TV spot that has like it actually running into him.
Yes.
But it's still just so interesting to see. He's like, he's like, all right, I'm going to gun this.
Yeah.
And then, no, sorry.
Yeah.
He's a god.
And we've seen the aftermath of this in previous trailers as well, where they face off. Now we've heard Lex deliver this speech before, just coming up now.
Yep.
I love how he's like the greatest gladiator match in the history of the world, God versus man, sort of very pointedly illustrated by the Batmobile deflecting off Superman. And I do think, again, we've heard the speech from Lex before, but I do think it's interesting, this sort of day versus night comparison. I mean, clearly he's talking about Batman being night and Superman being day, but they're both such dark characters. Is the comparison moot? I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I feel like Superman is definitely more the goody two shoes, and he's not the one who's branding people. He is operating the shadows, whereas Superman is kind of, a lot of people don't holding him responsible for a lot of death, and they don't really know whether to trust him. But he is a bit more just, this is who I am, and you should probably just work with me.
Yep.
So I think it's a fair comparison.
And there's that face-off.
Yep.
And again, this little patronizing bit from Lex.
And I love that in that face-off, that's the sequence where Batman asks Superman, "Tell me, do you bleed?"
Yeah.
And then you will.
Yep.
And he tries his damnedest to make him bleed. Now
there are a bunch of interesting little shots here.
Yep.
So let's go back.
How far do you want to go back?
Well, let's go back to here. I really love this. He's just pulling. He's
off the street.
He's going off the street and just pushing him through the roof of the building.
Through the
entire building.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we saw a lot of in Man of Steel. We saw a lot of men going through buildings, and I think it's going to be the same case here.
It should have been called. Yeah,
men going through buildings.
Oh, what a great title that would have been.
Now, this is interesting. Here, this is the Aston Martin DB Mark III that we saw when Bruce Wayne drives up to the party in previous trailers. So, this is interesting because he's pulling off.
That's the
pulling
important
off
thing.
The sheet,
right?
That's
the important thing about it. It's not just parked there because he uses it all the time. He's coming out of retirement, we presume, like not just potentially as Batman, but like as his kind of public face, as a public figure. He's kind of coming back into the limelight. I'm guessing because he knows Clark Kent is going to be at this party, or he's investigating Lex Luthor or something like that. So This is it's such a short shot, but it speaks volumes about his intent and it's symbolically, I should say.
And it's also, it's a 50s car. It's not the most flashy car that Bruce Wayne has in Batman lore.
Yeah, in contrast to Nolan's Batman, this is like a classic car. This speaks to him being an older
older gentleman,
more refined kind of guy.
That's right.
It's not a Lamborghini. It's which is fast and obnoxious. This is really flashy.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. That's flashy. This is classic. Yes.
Here we have a shot of Lois Lane and Clark Kent in the bath.
Yep. I just wish we could see Clark Kent's face to see if he is just emotionless as always. Because she seems to be enjoying herself, and I would hope he is too. And this is a nice scene to show. It humanizes him, a bit. Because that's what they need to do. They need to really kind of make us empathize with Superman.
Yeah, and I do like that they've included this shot because previously, in the previous trailers, we've seen a lot of people telling Clark Kent, they don't understand who you are, who you really are, etc. But we haven't actually seen him do anything particularly sort of empathetic, particularly human. So I really like this little sequence here.
And that move kind of seeks directly into her, he's in his costume.
Yeah.
Kind of a tender kind of moment. She's worried about, how this is all going to play out, I guess. Then this little kind of
1-2
shots. Yeah, 1-2 shots. It's like, Batman, he's got the gear to basically take on any situation apart from Superman. Sorry.
Yeah. So we see him throwing a baterang and just completely destroying a thug.
Yep.
And then we see him shooting. I mean, again, it's interesting. He's shooting a projectile. It's not really, he's shooting something at Superman, and of course Superman just deflects it, and it's just showing
catches
that
it, yeah.
Yeah, it's just showing that his traditional methods really aren't going to work against a god.
Yeah, except we can see he's in his heavily armored suit here, and this is how he's going to force the issue.
Yes.
Actually, make it a more level playing field.
Little shot of Gal Gadot there as Diana Prince.
Yep, there's a bit more.
We've seen that before. Okay, this is an interesting sequence. So yeah.
So we've seen a bit of this shot. We've seen that shot before.
Batman pile driving Superman through the roof.
Then, yeah, this seems to be there's a couple of frames in the last trailer where Batman is in his armored suit and he is just wailing on Superman.
Yeah.
And so I don't know whether this seems to be the same shot. I don't know whether this is after that's happened and Superman's just like, yeah, what's that? Or if it's beforehand. I mean,
it's interesting because it kind of looks mid-battle.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of curious as to this look on his face. He looks kind of bemused.
That's what I read it as.
Yeah, he looks like he's kind of taking a moment to change tactics, or he's learnt some piece of information that has changed the situation for him.
Right, yeah.
That's what that look says to me.
I don't know. The hilarious thing is we're discussing. I mean, there are a couple of other shots from this scene in the various trailers, but I just love that we're hyper analyzing what amounts to about a second of footage.
Hey, it's a rewind theater. That's what we do.
That is true. And then and also it's kind of interesting, so that's a fight scene between those two guys, and then it just goes straight into just another indication of power. That's just like the motion there, the intent. It's just so strong.
Yep. So this looks like a flashback. This gun being shot looks like a flashback to a callback to a flashback, rather.
Callback to a flashback.
When Bruce Wayne's parents were gunned down in front of him as a child.
And then this is kind of cool as well. So again, he's got his armored suit on, and Batman just catches his leg and then throws him into a wall.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Batman.
Yep.
And then we're still not too sure what exactly this explosion is. Whether this is Wonder Woman deflecting
Doomsday's lasers.
Yeah, Doomsday's lasers, but it could be any number of things really.
Well, certainly that kind of bright electrical light has become kind of synonymous with Doomsday.
Yep.
So this is an interesting exchange between Wayne and Prince. Very flirtatious.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting as sort of his line is, I thought he seems utterly clueless about the existence of any other metahumans beyond Superman. And I find that kind of fascinating. And it makes him look like a little bit of an idiot. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Well, he's the world's greatest detective, except I don't know. He's been chilling in the Batcave, you know. Like, who knows?
He's been out of the game for a while.
Yeah.
But earlier rumors had suggested he was aware of the existence of other superpowered beings. But this is obviously not the case. If he has no idea that she is actually Wonder Woman.
This and that sequence where Superman's like, "Is she with you?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "I thought she was with you."
Yeah.
So yeah. Even so, cool little scene. Yeah. I can't wait to see how that whole kind of potential romance, whatever, plays out.
Yeah.
And then directly to a shot of, okay, this is who she really is.
Yeah.
And
Now
then
this is a cool leap. I really like this. This is a new leap for Wonder Woman. That's badass.
That is totally badass. I haven't seen watch that one time. Here we go.
Woo. Yeah.
I mean,
CGI heavy, but
you'd get down
whatever.
to the shops in a couple of seconds.
You really could.
It'd just save all kinds of shopping time.
You really could. Okay, so we have Lois Lane here underwater, clearly in distress. Again, there's that sort of doomsday-ish light that we... I can't really pinpoint where the light source is coming from
it's really
here.
hard to tell what's going on there.
But she's clearly in a lot of trouble, and I sort of tend to think that this is happening later on in the film during that final battle.
Yeah,
just because of the presence of that sort of apocalyptic light.
It's hard to say, but Lois is certainly the keeper of a lot of valuable information.
Yeah.
So she's somebody who is going to be pulled into this conflict one way or another.
Yeah.
So whether it's it could tie into Lex's plans at any stage in the film, honestly. And then this is kind of coming back to that first fight scene, and it's a little hard to see exactly what he's done, but it looks like basically all their guns are just getting knocked out of their hands. So he's obviously come up through the floor, and then he's perched on the rafter. He's used some kind of gadget to basically disable all their weapons, and then he just drops down and just takes them on like a man.
Yeah, and I like this shot, and I like the inclusion of this shot because, yes, as I said previously, he was very much he's a brawler. He's a big kind of tank, and he's a fighter, right? But I do like the fact that he's still kind of sneaky. Well, this is a sneaky thing to do.
But the reality is, like, you can have the most heavily armored suit you like, but if you've got a hole where your mouth is, and they shoot you in the mouth, that's a problem.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
Get rid of the guns, and then wail on them hand to hand.
That is such a weak point, his mouth.
Yeah. Especially since his voice sounds kind of a bit modulated anyway.
Yeah.
So he could just have armor over that and just have a little speaker.
Yeah, I agree.
And then
just
a few more kind of shots.
That is going. I mean, this is just a collection of sort of out of context fight shots, but this is an interesting shot because if you just go back a little bit, this is Batman piloting the Batwing, but this looks like it's Gotham City that we're seeing here.
Yeah, right.
I think that this could be one of our first sort of full looks at DC's cinematic Gotham City.
Yeah, maybe.
A little different, a little brighter, a little lighter. But
it's hard,
we can't.
It's hard to say.
We can't.
It does seem a little bright.
We can't tell a hell of a lot from that shot. But yeah, that's my speculation.
I think people are going to be calling you out in the comments, Lucy.
They possibly will.
They're going to be calling us out about all sorts of stuff. So
I'm sure. Yes, so he's just shooting at Superman, and Superman, of course, he's bullet-ridden, but since when did bullets affect Superman? Since never. Again, I just think this sort of reiterates that Batman's traditional toys really aren't going to do much good against Superman. Now,
then
quick
kind of reaction shot.
Quick reaction shot from Martha Kent, from Diane Lane. She's clearly seen something or heard something on the radio or something that's distressed her. It looks like she's not at her home. She's noticed something.
Yep.
And she's getting some bad news. Okay.
Money shot. So good.
Yep.
And I love it. It's like, man versus God, face off, let's go, and then boop.
Yeah. just like that. He's just swatted away like a bug.
Yes, that's pretty cool. But then this is really interesting as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is possibly the most interesting shot in this trailer in terms of speculation. So this is set in this kind of what we have been calling dream sequence, because here's Batman in his nightmare outfit. But what we have here is we've got Darkseid's Amiga symbol there on the ground. Which is new for the trailers. We saw
scorched earth of a post-apocalyptic city. I mean, that is dark, and it looks like, I don't know whether they're warships or what the hell, those structures are beyond the city, but
yeah, I mean, we knew that Darkseid might have some sort of a presence in this film because there was some concept art that appeared in Empire magazine several months ago.
Right.
But yeah, this really does seem to confirm that he is a thing, basically, and that these winged creatures here are indeed his parademons, which are his sort of evil troops.
Yeah. And again, like, dream sequence, glimpse of a possible future, glimpse of I don't know, like, who knows? There's a lot of different things because, I mean, you've got that very personal encounter between Superman and Batman, the cowl being ripped off, and then you've got this big, broader battle. It seems like a lot to contain in
a dream sequence, which is why we were just chatting earlier. I mean, what kind of a dream sequence? I think I'm pretty certain this is a dream sequence, but what kind of a dream sequence is this? I don't imagine it's just Bruce Wayne lying in his bat bed having a nightmare. I think that there is more to this.
There's
because
somebody getting into his head.
Yeah, someone getting into his head. Just quickly, this is possibly a glimpse of the Doomsday battle from previous trailers.
Yeah, and look at that destruction.
Just because of the level of destruction here. This trailer is really light on Doomsday stuff.
It is.
The whole thing is focused on Batman versus Superman. This is really the only look we have at that final battle. And of course, that Lois Lane underwater shot as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be reminded that we know how this is going to play out to some extent. I mean, I'm sure this stuff that's being hidden, and maybe the Doomsday reveal was a tactical thing. But yeah, I just didn't want to know about that. So that's why I like this trailer, because it pretends Doomsday doesn't exist.
And also, just quickly, that in that previous shot, Superman looks really evil.
He does, yeah.
I mean, is this Bizarro Superman, or is he just really pissed off? It's quite hard to tell.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. He's got 8 eye lasers of his own, so anytime we see those laser kind of effects in these trailers, Doomsday or Superman, it could be either.
Yeah, I mean, also that things have got really real when he brings out his...
That's true,
yeah.
Now, this is my favorite shot in the entire trailer, for obvious reasons.
Yep. So this is the shot that suggests that the fight isn't going to be as one-sided as every single previous shot has suggested. Yep. It's again, it's stuff getting really real. So Batman has obviously found a way in which to counter Superman's strength. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, again, like when Superman shows emotion, you know something, it's full on, right?
Yeah.
So a great shot to end it.
Yeah, so there you have it. I mean, it's a great. It still leaves enough questions leading into the film. It's a great final trailer. I really like that we got to see Batman in action. And I mean, that's it. What we've got left is the film itself.
Yeah. So can't wait.
I
think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen the entire film already.
Anyway, that's it from us. Thank you, Cam.
Thanks, Lucy.
And for everything else, Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, stick with IGN.
Bye.